3. Oh, let's just keep going. Yeah, see, we're not perfect. Good morning. We're not perfect. Welcome.
Hey, good morning from San Antonio, Texas.
And good late afternoon, almost dinner time from Bremen, Germany.
Awesome. So let's talk about core web vitals. Let's talk about why fast websites matter and why should small businesses care about how fast their websites are.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, this is the second in our Tech Talks. And yeah, we talked last week about Sitemaps. So this time we want to start talking about Google Core Web Vitals. We're not going to get to it all today, but today and our next talk, you should know all about it. So yeah, what are Core Web Vitals for Google? Bridget, help me out here.
I really don't know as much as you are. I just know that that's the litmus test of how fast and performant your website is from Google. It used to be called Lighthouse, and that's the divine scripture of the web.
Okay, good, close, but yeah. So Google runs our search. All right, 95%. Google also is trying to play pretty fair. They want that people find our websites, get the information, and good websites have always been about user experience, have always been about relevant content, and have always been about a usable website. And a really important part of that is that the website loads quickly. This is really, really important since we're all sitting on mobile phones. We don't have maybe the power of a desktop. So the website's really got to load quickly. So in May 2020, they started talking about this new standard, the Core Web Vitals, and it was launched June 21, so almost a year ago. And this really affects the rankings of our website. If our website is slow, sluggish, full of irrelevant information, it's not really going to rank, and that's fair enough because people can't use it. So why should it be on page 1? Excuse me. So yeah, we've got specific factors that Google uses to measure the user experience of our website. Okay, they are relevant. I mean, if you Google Core Web Vitals, you get lots of questions. Are they legit? Yeah, well, yes, they are legit. They are a ranking factor, and there's lots of different ways that you can find out about these on your website, and how you can improve them if you're not doing so well. And that's really what we would like to look at today. You don't need to be a tech genius. You really just need to be able to use a browser like we're doing. And if you're lucky enough to be using WordPress or another user-friendly CMS, the ability to click on buttons. If you can do that, and I think most of us can, then you can really contribute to getting your website moving faster and then hopefully ranking better.
Okay, so how do we know if our website is fast?
Well, I wanted to mention about speed, but you said fast. So, okay, we're going to go right into fast because there are 3 core web vitals that Google is interested about. And if you look at this, we've got our largest content pane, we've got our first input delay, and we've got our cumulative layout shift. All right. 2 of these 3 factors have to do with one thing, and that is time. And as you say, speed, fast, it's got to be fast. Okay. So if speed is really important for our websites, yeah, we need to know how fast is our website. And I don't know, do you know how fast your website is?
I know that I use Beaver Builder, and I know that it's not that great.
Okay, well, beavers are kind of fast. I mean, they can chop through a lot of trees, but I don't know how fast they are putting together websites.
Can you check just my website, or do I have to?
I can check your website. I can check. I'm going to check your website. All right. So there's a couple of tools that we can use. Okay, they're also freely available here on the web. The first one is WebDev, web.dev. Okay, it's got a little measure part in the navigation, little tab. The other one that we could also use is the Google Page Speed Insights.
Okay.
All right. And both those are free. You can just Google them and you can put in your URL. Now, I've got it for our website. I'm just going to call up your website here. So I've got the right URL. I'm sorry, I don't have it memorized, but I'm going to put your URL in PageSpeed Insights and click Analyze. And I'm going to go over to the web dev and do the same thing. All right. So I can't copy and paste today. There we go. Yeah, this one's going. And then I'm going to switch the URL, and now this one's running. Okay. So what web dev measures is it's a cumulative amount, all right,
Okay.
based on desktop and mobile. It gives you a fair amount, a fair measurement. What the page speed insights do is it shows you a separate score for mobile and for your desktop. So for yours, it could be better.
I don't read German, but 20 and red sounds terrible.
Okay, so we don't have the German. Why is it showing me German? Anyway, okay, yeah. Your speed is 20 out of 100. So definitely it could be better, but that's your mobile. Okay, let's check your computer speed. Okay, computer speed is 76 out of 100, but you've got your desktop is got a stronger CPU, so this is fine. So let's see what our what web dev does. It says, okay, well, see, the performance is still the same. Web dev really focuses on mobile as the score because that's what Google uses. If your website isn't fast on mobile, nothing else interests Google. Okay, Google does a mobile first search index, so your website's got to work on mobile.
Okay.
All the rest of your scores are fine. Okay, your SEO is good, best practices are good, accessibility, good website, could run a little faster. Okay, beavers have really short legs.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why it's not running so fast. Okay.
I mean, if I wanted it to be super fast, what I need to do is not have all the great design and branding.
Well, it's a mixture of a lot of things, Bridget. Your website has got big, beautiful images.
Yeah.
Okay, sometimes those will slow us down. Your website also uses a page builder framework, like outside of Gutenberg. That means there's going to be more code, and more code also means more that that your website has to regurgitate. So there could be a lot of factors there. So if we know how fast our website is, we need to know what we can do about it.
Yes.
I'm going to use another example. I've got our website here, yoursmallbizmarketing.com, and I can log into this. I don't have access to your website right now, which is probably good, because then I could just switch everything around, and you're waking up tomorrow and going, "Where's my website?" So I'm just going to take a look at how fast our website is. All right, and then I'm going to use a plugin to make it faster.
Okay.
All right, so let's check out the scores. Okay, we got a great site. Now performance is 61.
Wow, 100% on SEO.
Oh yeah, we're all about SEO. So we've got a general score of 61. That's not bad, could be better. All right, let's take a look and see how that breaks down from mobile and computer. Okay, mobile is 57, could be better. Okay, it's
Beaver
slow
Builder
here. Yeah, maybe the beavers. On the computer is 80. All right, the desktop. Okay, so we're gonna try to want to make this better. So as I said, what we can do is if you log into your WordPress or your other CMS that offers modules or plugins, you're going to want to go into the plugin section, okay, and you're going to want to add a new plugin. There are a lot of plugins that will help optimize your site. What the optimizer will do is, if you haven't already optimized the images on your website, it will optimize those.
Okay.
It will compress those, get rid of those extra colors that we can't see. It's also going to take a look at your JavaScript, your CSS. It's going to take a look at your database, your HTML, all of those things, and it's going to say, what do we need and what can we sort of put to the side? Okay, it's going to compress all those things. It's also going to allow you to preload, to cache pages so that they're delivered as they're needed. Okay, doing this manually is a lot of work. So we're going to look for a plugin here, and the one I like, and I don't get any money for this, unfortunately, is WP Optimize. Okay, this is offers a lot of different plugins, but I like this one. Caches, it cleans, it compresses things. So I'm going to install this. Okay, again, it's free. There is a paid part to this, but we can just use the free part, and that's really good. So I'm going to activate it. All right, and then I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to see I've got a WP Optimize in my navigation.
Okay.
Now, there's a few things I can do. Okay, the one thing that I don't do for my websites immediately is compress and optimize the database. All right, I found that's really not necessary, and I wouldn't advise doing that unless you know your stuff, you're comfortable with making changes to your database, or you've got a webmaster or some tech person there. I wouldn't just click on database. You know, if you're just like us, small business owner, hey, I want to update my site. Okay, I would leave the database alone. I would look at the images, okay, and see if I have any images that need to be compressed. There aren't, but there might be. And if there were, I could choose those, and then it would compress them. I can also set it and say, hey, any new images coming into my site, automatically compress those. And I can decide about the compression. You know, do I want like 50, 60, 70? You don't want them too compressed because then they'll be pixelated, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, this is a good amount. All right. What's really important here, if we don't have any images, is our cache. All right. Now I can enable the page caching. All right. And this will then optimize our site for browsers. All right. Gives me the option for preloading. Okay. I can preload pages. So when people are visiting them, sometimes I get this unexpected response. Okay, now it's good. All right. For a first-time visitor, this plugin will help decide what information is immediately seen and what's cached for later. Often, those are the things that come below the fold. If we've got a lot of pictures below the fold, if people aren't scrolling down there, those images don't need to get loaded. No one's going to see them. So it'll do a lazy load. Okay. Then what we have is we've got a gzip compression, and we've got our static file headers. This is also really good because it will compress any resources and only deliver it when necessary.
What would those resources be?
It'll be everything from the HTML, JavaScript, CSS. Because it's only needed when it's called up.
Okay.
All right. So if the packages are zipped and then unpackaged when they're needed, there's less that needs to be called up when the website loads.
And that's okay for a small business owner to do?
Oh yeah, I mean this is automatic. It just clicks as soon as I do the page cache and the preload. Then these are automatically clicked.
Okay.
You don't have to do anything. You don't have to zip any files. Nothing at all. Okay. The last one, which is really good and really saves a lot of time, but could give you problems, all right, is the Minifi. Now, what Minifi does is, again, it processes our HTML, JavaScript, and CSS, and it will only give those files that are necessary. In addition, when HTML or style sheet or JavaScript are coded, there's very often, extra space, unnecessary code, and if we don't need to have this loaded, then it can be saved. Okay. The problem with this is that very often, it's not very often. Sometimes I've seen it twice. That when we minify the JavaScript and the style sheet, sometimes some of those funky things on our website won't work.
Oh,
Often the images, if we have background images or we have, you know, those slide in text and things, they won't work because
okay.
those are nice to have,
Yeah.
but they're not
need to have.
mandatory.
Yeah.
So if you know, once you set this and you can check, make sure the JavaScript, style sheet, this is all done. Fonts, you can even choose not to load Google fonts. We're going to be talking about that another week because that'll speed up your website. So once you've got all of this stuff done, you can check then to see if any of those funky things on your website are still working. If they are, okay. If you find, ooh, it's not working, and for me, this is the most important thing on my site, I mean, more important than a fast loading website, then you can just come back, you know, you just come back and say, I don't want this anymore, and you click it.
Oh, okay.
You can click it back and forth, it, you know, it's not going to hurt.
It's not irreversible damage.
It's not written in stone, no. And this is the great thing about using a plugin, because now you've saved yourself a couple of hours of coding time. You know, if something goes wrong, you can just, you know, uninstall the plugin.
Okay.
That won't matter. Okay, so let's go back now. We've used this to optimize all the basic things, and we didn't have any images, unfortunately, because those always make a big difference. So yeah, this was our score before optimizing, 61. And then we had on our desktop 80 and our mobile 57. That was before optimizing. Okay. Okay, so now let's see what our score is like after optimizing. I hope there's enough time in between because we just optimized, but we'll see. Okay, so it was like 61, 57, 80, something like that. Yeah. Okay. 62. 62. So that's higher than 57. Yep. Was it still 82? No, it was 80. 80. Okay, so that's faster. But you know, I would probably come back in 5 or 10 minutes and double check it as well. Yeah. 57. What was the first? What was our performance? I thought it was 57. I don't remember. Okay, maybe that hasn't stayed. Yeah. Okay. It's also very soon. It's best to check it out like 10 minutes or so after. See, now our mobile is on 60. There's a mistake here has happened. Okay, and this is still loading. Okay. Well, we like everything instant. German practice. Kind of ironic how slow this is. Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, at what point do we have to purge our server cache? You can purge your cache here as well. You can purge. We're on site district. We're on site district. And if you click that button up there, we can purge our server cache. We can do this here. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, we can do that right here. We can minify it or we can purge it all. It's only 4 files, only 95K. Yeah. So that's not a big deal. Okay. Now this is definitely an error because our performance can't be worse. That doesn't make any sense. So 25, yeah, something's definitely wrong with the measurement. We'll come back to that. Okay, while we're waiting, I mean, a plugin is, there we go. This 70. Is better. Okay, yeah. So now our performance is 70 overall, which means mobile is 67, desktop is still working. Okay, but it's definitely gone up there. It was like 50 some odd, now it's 70. Yeah. You really notice a big difference, especially with images, because most websites don't optimize their images. You should always run them through tiny PNG or optimize them at 70% from your photo editor. But if you've got a lot of images, I just did a website and we optimized like on site, and there was 35 megabytes of images which were saved. That's definitely going to be a second of time, you know, and every second really helps. They're 67 on computer. Yeah, okay, there's definitely something wrong with this. Okay, yeah, there's some mistake here. Okay, yeah, that might be slower. Yeah, something's here. So I mean, the plugin is one way that you can go about it. And there's other ways. I know, Bridget, you have a lot more experience in this than I do because I don't use like managed hostings. But there are options where the managed hosters will offer a lot faster themes, the headless CMS themes, etc. Do you want to throw that out to our audience?
I mean, I think that's a little more complicated than a small business owner needs to deal with, but there are other options.
Yeah.
If you want to have a hardcore front-end developer, use a theme that's loaded with JavaScript, that's Jamstack. Jamstack stands for JavaScript APR Markdown.
That's it.
That's the stack of it, so it's more secure, it's faster, images aren't CDNs, and it's just much more difficult for things to get. I'm a partner in WP Gatsby themes.
Yes.
And we build themes specifically to work with WordPress.
Mm-hmm.
So right now we haven't made themes for e-commerce, but it's on the horizon.
Those are hard to keep fast.
Right. E-commerce is a big deal. Like my site has e-commerce. So I'm reluctant to change a lot of what it is because one of my technical dependencies is easy digital downloads because that's how you buy Launches Words.
Yeah.
So it's all in context, right? How are people finding you? What is your business? E-commerce, page speed matters even more. Because how many times have we been on our phone about to buy something and then it's so slow you don't even care anymore. That's the problem.
Yeah.
I don't specifically have a lot of mobile users. I see that in my Google Analytics because most of my customers are WordPress developers who have much bigger and more screens than I do.
Yeah.
And more powerful machines. So it's kind of that balance. Like, do I want the really great branding that I have on my website? Or do I want a really, really, really fast website? Because I can have a really, really, really fast website just by having the most plain website ever with theme 2020, almost no images, or really plain featured images. Like right now, my featured images have a lot of branding, a lot of text on them. So because they're so text heavy, if I compress them, they become pixelated and difficult to read.
Yeah, definitely. Yes, this is a good point. I mean, a fast website is important. If you can do that without compromising why people are using your website, then this is good. I mean, there's other ways, shortening, the ordering process, shortening your funnel, having less words. I mean, there's lots of ways that you can optimize your website and still give why your customers are there.
And that's why people like the Jamstack. Yeah. Because you don't have to compromise design.
Yeah, definitely. Good. Well, so that's the first part of the Google Web Core Web Vitals. Next week we're going to talk about. Did you? This is good. We're going to talk about cumulative layout shift. For those of you who are interested, and yeah, it's an interesting topic. It's still new. It's still relevant. There's so many websites, and maybe yours is one of them that can just be improved with a simple plugin. And these are the sorts of things that you can do. And even if you decide not to go and click, just being aware of what's out there and your options, this will really empower you. So when the agency calls and says, hey, we can increase your page speed for $2,000, you can think, or I could do it for, half an hour of my time. Think about it. Yeah. Forewarned is forearmed.
Yeah, there's a lot of shysters out there.
There are shysters. There are.
I get them all the time. I get those
Yeah,
spam mails all
shysters,
the time.
really?
Yeah, like, well, they're spam. They're like, oh, we really want to
Mhm.
update your website. I'm like, I have a web designer.
I get a lot of emails, people begging to deposit millions of dollars into my bank account.
I know, right?
Yeah,
It'd be
shysters.
like that sometimes.
I
I mean, because
always
if it
say
sounds
yes.
kind of expensive, it is. I mean, I talked to someone who wants to start a new website for nonprofit. They want to know how much it costs. I'm like, start with 1,500.
Yeah, yeah,
And if it's anything lower than that, I would doubt that it has the proper donation mechanisms that a nonprofit needs, because nonprofit sites, for example, are e-commerce.
yeah, yeah. Oh, for sure. Definitely.
So
100%.
don't, you're a roofer, go ahead and get that $500, $900 website. That's fine.
Yeah, yeah,
But
for
if you
sure.
are getting money over the internet,
Yeah.
you want a better website.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, it all comes down to, I mean, your website's your tool. If this is, the tool, then invest some money in it. If it's a tool you use but it's, other tools are more important, then don't spend so much money on it.
Yep.
Don't buy a Cuisinart if the only thing you're making are crepes once a week. You can use a hand whisk for that.
Honestly, you don't need a Cuisinart for a whole lot.
It looks really good on the counter. So if you've got a really state-of-the-art kitchen, like open plan, with the view of Vale in the background, you got to have a Cuisinart because it validates your kitchen.
Well, that, and it has to be next to the KitchenAid mixer, stand mixer.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I'm like, I got a hand mixer, and besides, like, you know what? A lot of times people, and this is so on point, and we could close with this. Are you buying the tool because somebody told you to buy the tool? Or is there a simpler, easier way to accomplish those business goals without being super distracted and without wasting your money?
I can't add anything to that. It's perfect.
Bye from
Perfect.
San Antonio.
Bye from Europe.